Ons gesels nou met senior adviseur Santosh. Hy is by die Suid-Afrikaanse Windenergie Assosiasie. Baie welkom Santosh.
Thank you for having me.
Santosh, let's please start at the beginning. Please tell us more about SAWEA. What do they do?
So SAWEA is, I don't like talking in abbreviations, so I'll just spell it out. It's the South African Wind Energy Association.
Yes.
So we are the only wind energy association in South Africa. What do? We are a non-profit member-based association. We advocate for wind energy, we engage with different stakeholders. So usually those stakeholders involve different government departments, ESCOM, presidency, the like, and other non-profit associations. Our duty is to advocate for wind energy, but also to come out with initiatives that promotes the growth of wind energy in South Africa, to assist our members with any issues they may be having, with engaging with different departments, with responding to different policies that may be instituted by the government, different regulatory issues, and to solve general issues that arise in the wind industry. So we get our members together and we collaborate to ensure that we form solutions to these problems and then take it out to the wider industry.
So who are your members?
Our members include the developers of the wind plants, the OEM manufacturers of the wind turbines, the IPPs who are actually operating these wind plants, skills developers, and a whole lot of other members in the value chain, so logistics suppliers. What we are trying to do now is to make SAWEA more holistic. So we are trying to get more of the larger energy users on board in South Africa, and that obviously includes the agricultural sector.
But the question would be, is it cost effective?
Yes. So when wind energy started out in this country, a little over a decade ago now, and it's actually maturing, we knew the costs were high, but through the REAP program, so the REAP program is the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Program. So that's where the government procures energy from IPPs, independent power producers. Through that program over the years, which predominantly procures solar PV energy and wind energy. It varied throughout the years, but those are the main ones. The price has dropped. We had gotten the price down to around 60 cents, and municipalities charge anywhere from R1.20, R1.80.
Yeah, I heard a lot of farmers that can make available some of their land, especially if it's in the area of high wind. We didn't rent it out to the service providers. What would be his next step to try and tap into that opportunity?
So what we are trying to do is to create a database of these different farms or potential farms that could come up. What happens is, in the process of developing a wind farm, there's a lot of different stages to it, but to simplify it a lot, you have your pre-feasibility, feasibility of the wind farm, then you look at permitting, funding, until implementation. These developers usually will contact the farmers as part of that feasibility process to say, okay, are the landowners actually willing to have this on their land, and can we sign an agreement to that effect? And they will have all of those agreements, and they might lease the land, they might buy the land from you. They will have those agreements in place before they ever decide to implement the plant. It's part of due diligence. You have to make sure that you're researching every aspect of this potential plant before you even start building. Because
it's expensive.
Because when we're looking at who is actually going to fund these plants, who are the owners of these plants, there's a lot of different owners. I mean, what usually happens is you'll have a consortium of companies. So you'll have different companies coming together, forming a specialist project company to say, okay, we want to build this wind farm. All those different companies may consist of the OEM, so the turbine manufacturer themselves. It may consist of a local trust, so the people in the area that are putting money together to have part ownership of this land. You may have other private companies, investment funds, whoever the case may be, who are putting all this money together, forming one company to be able to build this plant. So when we're looking at the ownership, we know that a large part of the ownership is actually South African. On these going forward. And anyone who puts money into anything will want surety that it's done correctly. Right? So part of that is making sure that you do your due diligence. So we understand that although these plants are being built in these rural areas, it must be sustainable. We must not be hurting the environment. So we have these environmental impact assessments, environmental authorizations that are also approved by the department, done before the plant ever gets built.
Santosh, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Many thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to talk about this, and I think people realize how important farming is to South Africa, and anything we can do to help the farmers is going to only improve South Africa going forward.